Manny Pacquiao could fight Terence Crawford in 2023. Will Errol Spence fight him if he wins? What's good, everybody? It's your boy Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, so legendary boxer, senator, and presidential candidate, Filipino superstar Manny Pacquiao could get a shot at WBO welterweight champion Terence "Bud" Crawford in 2023. This fight is very possible, being that Manny Pacquiao has recently signed a contract with Rising Sports, I believe that's what they're called, and it's stated in there that he would be having a professional fight. He would be, in the article, they said he would be returning to the ring professionally. Now, what could that mean? Could that mean that Pacquiao is in for, some longer exhibition style fights? Like he won't be doing the 6-round exhibitions, but might move to the 10-round exhibition model, which I think is like amateur. It's still professional fighting, like they're real fights, but it's more like for amateur records than it is for professional records. So will it be in that capacity, or will it be a full-fledged return to the boxing ring? Because it could reshape the landscape of the welterweight division. Now, I want to touch on all points that were brought up in this article, the good, the bad, the ugly. Let's start out with the bad. When it comes to why people keep saying they don't want Manny Pacquiao to return, the number one reason I heard people say that they don't want Manny Pacquiao to return is that he is old, that his time has passed, and he doesn't need to be fighting the young dogs of the welterweight division. Now, I want to break that down. Why would people say that? Why would people say that Manny Pacquiao is too old for these young lions and he shouldn't be fighting these young dogs because he's taking way too much damage to his body? Well, basically, I think that is a fear. It's a fear of the fan. It's a fear of the analyst. And it doesn't seem to be a fear that Manny Pacquiao shares with these people. Manny Pacquiao obviously feels that he has something left in the tank and that there was some type of asterisk to him surrounding the Yordenis Ugas fight. Whether that was the 10-day notice, whether that was Freddie Roach and Team Pacquiao didn't come up with a good enough game plan to beat Ugas, whether that was the overtraining, whether that was the massage that Manny Pacquiao got before the fight. He feels like something in there threw him off during the Ugas fight, and that is not how he wants to end his boxing career. Now, when it comes to people saying that he's too old, what is age exactly? Most people say that he is too old and his body at this age doesn't need to take that type of damage. And I have to totally disagree, because when you move to other sports outside of boxing and maybe football, when you move to a sport like MMA, when you move to a sport like karate, when you move to a sport like, bare knuckle boxing, when you move to other sports that are combat sports, usually the ones that are competing, especially in sports like karate, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, bare knuckle boxing, we got guys like Paulie Malignaggi, who nobody wants to see back in the boxing ring, but did get into bare knuckle boxing, which I think most people would agree is a lot more brutal than regular boxing. Paulie Malignaggi is not a spring chicken, and he's not super old, but he's not a spring chicken either. So for him to get into a bare knuckle boxing match and to be okay afterwards and not have taken any permanent damage to his body, that should solidify that Manny Pacquiao is most likely not in danger of anything seriously happening to him. Now, a lot of people like to revert back to Ali when you talk about age and boxing and things that can happen because of punches taken over time. Now, nobody can point, once again, I've said this before, a finger at one fight or one punch or one moment in Ali's career that led him down that Parkinson road. Matter of fact, I believe that he just was never diagnosed correctly with the disease. Like, the disease came about because he was never fully checked and diagnosed for that disease. Even though I think a lot of people believe that his team knew about the disease, but they just didn't actually do what they needed to do to get Ali the help that he needed. And he ended up taking some fights that he totally shouldn't have taken at that point in his career. But when you look at Ali and Pacquiao, you know, at the same points in their career, basically around the same ages, Pacquiao hasn't shown any signs of any diseases or anything even hindering his career outside of what happened during the Floyd Mayweather fight and his shoulder. You know, his whole career, you never saw Manny Pacquiao really ever get injured. You barely saw Manny Pacquiao get cut. So, in all actuality, Manny Pacquiao might be a little more preserved as a fighter because of all the fighters he knocked out and all the fighters he just totally demolished. You know, he didn't really take a lot of damage in a lot of those fights. Maybe the Margarito fight, getting hit by someone that big, is obviously going to have an effect. But outside of the first few weeks after the fight, you never really saw Manny Pacquiao hurt. After the Yordenis Ugas fight that a lot of people believe that he got demolished in for some reason, when he barely lost the fight, maybe by a point and a half at the most. Yes, Manny Pacquiao went to the hospital. Yes, he got fed soup by his wife. But at the end of the day, what good wife, after any fight, wouldn't go treat their husband like that? You know, that's her husband. That's not some guy she just met off the street or some nurse feeling sorry for some beat up fighter sitting in a hospital room and she decided to feed him some soup because his arms won't move. You know, that's far from the reality. And if you even look at those pictures, it almost seemed like Manny Pacquiao was only doing that to please his wife. The look on his face didn't seem like, oh, I'm so hurt that I have to have my wife feed me. It looked like, man, I know I shouldn't have took that fight, you know, and those guys cheated me and I got embarrassed. That's the look on his face. So once again, if anybody's married out there, I'm pretty sure after any event in your life, a fight, a basketball game, you know, where you might have lost and your significant other feels sorry for you, she might do something like that for you. So I don't understand why people point to that as a sign of, well, he doesn't need to get back in the boxing ring again because his wife fed him soup. Like, it doesn't even make sense. This is why boxing is so laughable at this point. And boxing fans are like comedy. Let's touch on one more thing. Nothing that Ugas did to Manny Pacquiao was super duper impressive or made him look like he couldn't have beat Ugas given one or two other things worked on in practice or in preparation for that fight. If he would have turned up the speed just a little bit, he would have dominated Ugas. If he would have thrown a little bit of angles in there, he would have dominated Ugas. But he tried to toe-to-toe with Ugas, maybe believing that he could do him the way he did Margarito. But because he didn't have the proper preparation, he, I think, never saw that looping punch coming. And it landed a lot. And that's what lost him the fight, plain and simple. It wasn't that he got knocked down or he got knocked out or close to not. None of that happened during that fight. So I don't know what people's illusion of Pacquiao becoming permanently hurt by Errol Spence comes into people's mind. Now, he fought one of the biggest welterweights ever, Margarito, and one of the biggest welterweights in this generation, Keith Thurman, and beat him. And nothing Keith Thurman did to Manny Pacquiao slowed him down or made him look like he was ever in danger of that fight. Once again, Ugas never rocked Pacquiao or knocked him down. Pacquiao's glove never touched the ground. So people are delusional when they talk about Manny Pacquiao, in my opinion. Any other fighter who gave a fight in those manners to either one of those guys, he beat Thurman. But any other fighter who gave Ugas that type of fight, because Ugas beat Crawford, he's got a lot of good names on his resume. If you ask me, he beat Porter as well. But anybody to come that close to beating Ugas and never got knocked down or close to knocked out, you would think that that person would have gotten an immediate rematch. If that was Boots Ennis that gave that type of fight that Pacquiao did versus Ugas, they would be in a rematch a year later, and he would have got to show if that was a fluke or not. But I think because a lot of people wanted Pacquiao out of the way, you know, there was never a rematch ordered for that fight. And Ugas he only entertained it for a little while, and as soon as Errol Spence spoke, the rematch talk went away. Now, what is the good and, you know, what's the ugly and the good of the Pacquiao return? To me, the ugly would be Errol Spence or Terence Crawford knocks him out within 5 rounds. That would be completely embarrassing, and it would prove everybody right that Pacquiao didn't belong in the ring. Now, would that mean that it was his age or his skills that went? Hey, it would be up to how the fight played out up until he got knocked out. Now, the good would be Pacquiao comes back and challenges Terence Crawford. You know, perhaps loses to him, but almost, you know, loses to him by half a point. Or loses to him similar to how he lost to Ugas. You know, I would still give Pacquiao praise just for getting in there. You know, that would still be good to me. It would still show that Pacquiao, even at that age, can run with those guys. The great would be that Pacquiao gets in there and beats Terence Crawford and moves on and is able to fight Errol Spence finally like it was supposed to play out in the first place. And gets to do it with a title like it would have played out if the WBA would have ordered the Errol Spence Manny Pacquiao fight when it was there to be made, and PBC for that matter. They should have been making that fight as soon as Manny Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman, but the fact that they delayed it so long should let you know that there was something shady going on in the background. Whether that was PBC purposely setting him up or whether it was the WBA wanting him out of the way. One of those two entities did shady things to Manny Pacquiao behind the scenes, and there's no way to deny that. And I'm going to conclude with this. Manny Pacquiao, I think because of that shadiness, deserves a shot at whatever he wants. He's a legend. He did everything the right way. He gave Keith Thurman a shot. He gave Ugas a shot when those guys didn't deserve it. He allowed them to strip him. Pacquiao could have fought that and most likely would have won. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Pacquiao had an appeal that he could have put into the WBA, which I don't think he turned in, because I think he felt like he secured the Errol Spence fight, so that was enough for him. So he didn't actually appeal the fact that he was stripped of the WBA title. And then they ended up giving him a title anyway, champion in recess, because they knew that they were wrong. I could go on and on and on about this topic. I think I might do a part 2, but I'm going to leave it here for now. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tube. So holler at me over there. We are ready.
If you're from the field, you know I'm fucking with you. If you're from Kentucky, you know I'm fucking with you. You ain't never heard of me, you wanna get familiar. Well, my nigga, let me paint a picture. 12 motherfuckers splitting 3 bedrooms. Dang, my nigga, let me get some leg room. Every single night we watch the 10 o'clock news. Young black man murdered over tennis shoes. Every year we move to a brand new hood. Had to fight a nigga just to make it understood. Bitch, I learned to fight from Wayne and your knuckle. First thing they taught me, nigga, swing if you touch it. Moved out of town when I turned 19. Seen $400 pounds of light cream. Moved back home before I turned 20. I guess you could say that was the birth of Lucas Keys. It was time to let these niggas know my name. Young Real introduced me to the game. He was rapping too big back in the day. When they had Daddy Yo and Hurricane, they was getting beats from Willie Will and Lil J. Can't forget Young Serge, they did they thing. That motivated me to do the same, and I